Hey, this is Todd and living in Daytona Beach. Today we step away from the beach and we're going to take a look at DeLand, Florida. That's DeLand, Florida, D-E-L-A-N-D. We're going to look at the pros and cons of this city near Daytona Beach. Look a little bit at the map. Now remember, this is not an exhaustive list, so we're going to cover some of the pros, some of the cons, starting with the cons first and then lead into the pros. That all happens right now. Like I said before, this is Todd with Living in Daytona Beach. If this is the first time to the channel, go ahead, hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss a thing about living in Daytona Beach or living in Florida. Plus, if you're moving in 5 days to 5 months, 3 days to 3 months, hey, go ahead and give us a call, a text, an email, or even set up a Zoom video call because we will make your move memorable. Well, like I said, today we're going to look at DeLand, Florida, right outside of Daytona Beach, to see what this inland city has to offer. We're going to look at the pros and cons. We're going to look a little bit at the map to show you exactly where DeLand is located at in Florida. Let's get to it. The first thing before we start looking at the pros and cons of DeLand, Florida, I want to take a look at the actual map of Florida and show you where DeLand is located at. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay, we start out with the beautiful state of Florida, and today we're talking about DeLand, Florida, so we're going to zoom in nice and smooth like all the way down to DeLand to kind of show you as I go in smoothly, you're going to see Orlando to the lower part of the screen to the south of DeLand, and I'm going to show you kind of over towards the east coast to the northeast is Daytona Beach. Get the pencil right here. You're gonna, most notably, you've got Daytona down here to the south, DeBerry. Lots of DE names around here. DeBerry, Daytona, and DeLand. Of course, DeLeon Springs towards the north. And of course, as we go over here, you've got Daytona Beach right up here on the coastline right there. DeLand, Florida is about 33,000 people, a little over 33,000 people. So what we're going to look at today is some notable areas that you may want to visit while you live here, or maybe even you're just trying to come down for a visit. First and foremost, important area right here would be Blue Springs State Park, located right here to the south or southwest of DeLand. So DeLand is right here, and you have Blue Springs State Park. It actually is only about 8 miles from the city of DeLand, about 17 minutes by way of car. But if you live in DeLand, a lot of people will frequent Blue Springs State Park. Beautiful natural spring water, 72 degrees all year round. Next on the list, everyone always wants to know how close they are to the beach. I'm going to mark this out once again. We have, of course, Daytona Beach right here on the coastline. Right there is Daytona Beach. And DeLand, of course, is right here. 2 ways. Probably the easiest way to get to Daytona Beach is take 92 right into the city of Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach is approximately 25 miles from DeLand. And it takes you roughly about 35 minutes to get there. So when you're in DeLand, if you want to get to the beach, Daytona is your quickest route. The other route, of course, you head down out of DeLand, you hit I-4, will take you almost the same route to get to Daytona Beach. It's about the same time frame too. I-4 can be a little bit slow depending on the traffic conditions. Question people have when they move to Florida: how close am I to Disney World? Well, DeLand and Disney World are fairly close together. I'm going to get the pencil once again. I'm going to mark DeLand, circle it, and I'm going to come down here towards Orlando. Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World is right here. And of course, there's various ways to get here. A lot of people will take I-4 all the way down. You have to kind of go through Orlando and make your way down to Disney World. So distance, about 56 miles. Depends on, that's probably the quickest route you're going to use to get down to Walt Disney World, 56 miles. Remember, you're going to go through Orlando. It's going to take you a little over an hour to get there, even though it's only 54 miles. It can take you anywhere between an hour and 10 minutes, sometimes even an hour and 30 minutes, again, depending on the traffic conditions. You want to explore the west coast of Florida. A lot of people will head over towards the Tampa Clearwater area, and then we're going to look at Tampa and Clearwater. Right here, right next door is Clearwater. That is 128 miles. Again, various ways to go, but 128 and then a little extra over to Clearwater will get you to the beaches on the west coast of Florida. A little bit warmer water over there. It's the Gulf of Mexico over there, but a lot of people, less waves. So if you like to just hang out in the water and not worry about waves, then that coastline, the west coast of Florida, would be perfect for you. That trip is going to take you about 2 hours, 15 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes, again, depending on traffic conditions. And there's multiple ways to get there, of course.
Okay, so DeLand, what's so special about it? Well, first, what I want to do is I want to highlight real quick highlights about DeLand, what it's all about, and why that might interest you. And if you're moving to an area, it's good to find out the highlights and the lowlights of an area to find out if that's a place you want to move to. So DeLand, here we go. One of the highlights you may not know about is the DeLand Museum of Art. Next is the historical Athens Theater. While in DeLand, don't forget to stop by the Naval Air Museum. Did you know that DeLand actually is the skydiving capital of the world? I don't make this stuff up. DeLand has a gorgeous downtown area. So if you get a chance to even visit DeLand before you move there, check out the downtown area. And the last highlight, living in DeLand, the last highlight of DeLand, Florida, is it is actually the place where the Volusia County Fairgrounds is located. Okay, first, let's start with the cons of DeLand, Florida. So like I stated earlier in the video, this is not an exhaustive list. So you might view this video and say, well, there's a few other things, Todd, I would have liked you to mention. That is a great chance for you to comment, even email or even text us comments on these videos. If there's something we missed, make sure you tell us so we can cover it next time. So DeLand is a fairly small town. I call it a town because it's a little over 33,000 people. So the first con we're going to cover actually is the amenities of the town of DeLand. Now, the reason this is a con is because not so much it's lacking, but it's because of how the amenities are spread out. If you're trying to travel from one place to another, let's say it might be from the store to the park to a restaurant, there's not a lot of things that are easily walkable. It doesn't rank very high on a walkability score. So if you're going to live in DeLand, you're going to have a vehicle. So I did a map search right on Google Maps, and I was only able to discover about 20 to 25 different restaurants in the DeLand area. Now, it's plenty to choose from, but it's nowhere near what you're going to find, let's say, in Orlando or in Daytona Beach. And when I did a real quick search on maps in regards to shopping, I was only able to really find about 15 places that were listed as places to shop. So there you go. If you're looking for a more extensive place to shop, you might be making your way over to Orlando, which is what a lot of people do. And why a lot of people choose DeLand, because it is a smaller town, not as much hectic and hubbub as some of the larger cities. Gives you more of a small town feel. So con number 2, which it actually can be a con or a pro, is the actual commute and what happens commute-wise within the city. If you're a person who is conscious about the environment, or maybe you just don't feel like you need to own a vehicle right now, public transportation is very, very limited. Now we're going to look at the map, and I'm going to show you exactly where public transit passes through. So let's take a look on the map right now.
92 that comes from Daytona is the main bus route, comes into DeLand and goes directly south on 17 going south towards Orange City, DeBerry, and Deltona. That really is the only main area for public transportation. Within the city, you have to have a car, a bicycle, or a really good set of tennis shoes. So if you're using public transportation, you're going to have just those main routes. That route does go right past Stetson University, which is almost right in the middle of DeLand. So that main route, again, marked out, coming from Highway 92 into DeLand, making its way south right through the city, is the main corridor, the main vein of public transportation. So that's what you have. If you're not going to use a car and you're going to use a bus, that's what you're going to have available to you.
So as you can see, public transportation really only passes through one area. That's Woodland Avenue that goes north to south all the way through DeLand. It passes by places such as Stetson University. But as far as an overall public transit system within the city, it's very, very lacking. Now, strangely enough, I hardly ever capitalize on any of this particular subject right here, as far as a con goes, is the health and safety of the city. But I should mention it. Now, because it is more inland, and because it is a smaller town, for one, being more inland, it has a lower air quality than you'll find from other cities, especially the cities that are along the coastline of Florida. But as far as health goes, well, it is a smaller city. It does have hospitals located within the city region, but not nearly as many specialists and maybe some additional doctors you might have to find that you will find in some of the larger cities. And that's where it ranks as a con. Now, don't let this next one scare you, but DeLand, for the size of the city, DeLand ranks one of the highest with crime rates. And I don't mention this myself. I pulled information from crimescout.com and from crimegrade.com to kind of give you a perspective of how nationally this particular town, DeLand, Florida, ranks. Now, it has a crime rate actually of 38 per thousand. That means boils down to 1 in 26 people are going to be subject to a violent crime. Now, I've been to DeLand a few times. I don't really see that as a possibility, but I guess overall, if you really want to take statistical information, this is what a lot of places will show you. Like I said before, neighborhoodscout.com, crimegrade.com are some of the areas I pulled information from. Now, every city is going to be different, and every city is going to have a good part and a bad part. But I'm just showing you, just telling you what the facts are that are out there. So just be aware. Now, is DeLand a safe place? Yes, overall, DeLand is a safe place. All the friends that I have that live there or visit there frequently always say they feel very safe in the city. Now, number 4 as a con is going to be job availability. Now, this actually is going to tip the scale as to a pro and a con, or a con and a pro, because it is a smaller town. It is primarily a college town, but because it is a smaller town, it's not going to have the access to as much career activity. Now, it has a smaller job market, but it is proposed that within the next 5 to 10 years, job growth is going to be up to 47%. So you're going to see more and more people moving to the area. It is fairly close to Orlando, 56 miles from Orlando, 25 miles from Daytona. It's a great halfway point in between Daytona and Orlando. So it makes a perfect opportunity for industry to move in, and for job growth to explode in the area. The city's unemployment rate is at 3.1%, which actually is well below the national average. Who are some of the major employers in DeLand, Florida? Well, here they are. Major employers include Volusia County Schools, Stetson University, Sykes Communication, Medtronics, Frontier Communications, and the city of DeLand are some of the top city's employers. So number 5 on our list for cons is the weather. Now, again, this could lean into a con or either a pro, depending on how you look at it. Now, being in Florida, DeLand, Florida, it's going to have over 200 plus days of sunshine, but it is more inland, so you don't get all that nice sea breeze, that marine air that comes through, especially in the evening times and in the morning times. But you do find in the summer in particular, you're going to have a lot of rain in the area. So first and foremost, talk about summer temperatures. And I always like to talk about summer because that can be the most grueling part of living in Florida. So DeLand is no different. So the summer months, June, July, August, even September, you're going to have those temperatures up in the 90s, which, as many people know, it's not the heat that kills you or gets to you, it's the humidity. Humidity can range between 80 to 90%, which can make you feel like you're inside of a sweat box, if you will. So just be aware, those summer temps are going to be really high, and it's going to feel, and some days it's going to feel sweltering because you are inland more than you would be like on the coastline. Now, the other thing is summer storms. The average rainfall throughout the summer, that's June, July, August, September, average per each month is about 7.5 inches of rain. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but remember, you're going to have rain almost every single day, at least maybe for an hour, maybe 2 hours, you're going to have a rainstorm that comes through. The rainstorms can be very, very nice, but once the rain goes away and the sun pops out, you guessed it, that humidity goes through the roof, and it can feel almost unbearable. It feels like you're in a sauna. It really feels like you're in a sauna. So that can be a little too much for people. A lot of people stay indoors during those rainstorms. They watch the rainstorms. Rainstorms are beautiful in Florida, and DeLand is no different. But once that rain goes away, the sun pops out. Typically, people have to wait about an hour for things to dry out, for that humidity to calm down a little bit, and then they make their way back outside. So now the fun part, we get to look at the pros of living in DeLand, Florida. And like I said before, this is not an exhaustive list. So you might be out there viewing, you say, well, there's a few negatives, a few extra negatives I've noticed about DeLand, or I've heard about DeLand. You might know somebody that already lives here in DeLand. The other thing too is that the pro side, you might say, well, there's tons of excellent things to deal with this city. And you're right. You're absolutely right. So we're going to cover some of the top pros of the city. So you have the best chance when you're thinking about moving to a place, the best chance to decide if this is a city for you. First, let's talk about the cost of living. Now, the median price for a home in DeLand, Florida is about $383,000. Now, compared to the average in Florida of a median home price is $407,000. So it's a little bit lower than the average in Florida. So you get a little bit cheaper as far as home prices go. And the average rent price in DeLand is about $1,350 per month. Now, the rent-to-own ratio in DeLand, there's about 39% renters and about 61% for those that are home owners. So we can see that a lot of people have moved to the area and actually decided to own a home in the area. Now, let's talk about income. Now, the average income roughly, now remember, I've got this data from different data points across the internet. Now, the median household income approximately for DeLand, Florida is $71,000. Now, nationally, it's about $75,000. So we are a little bit lower than the national average for median income. While we're at it, let's take a real quick peek at some of the offerings as far as real estate goes in DeLand, so you have a great idea of what is actually available out there. First one on our list is this beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. 1,164 square feet. It's $189,900. So that's approximately $163 per square foot. Next on our list is this gorgeous 3-bed, 2-bath home, newer construction, 1,458 square feet, which is listed at $329,000. And that's roughly $226 per square foot. And last on our list, if you want to go big and still live near the DeLand area, is this 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,097 square foot home that goes for $874,000. Has an in-ground pool, and that's 10 plus acres. So that's roughly $417 per square foot. So as you can tell, there's plenty of choices in the DeLand area. If you want to go on the smaller scale, there's tons of different properties. Now, all these are single-family homes that are available, but you have ample opportunity to pick up a smaller home if you wish, or if you want to go, you can go big with some acreage. So there's all these different options right there in DeLand, Florida. Well, number 2 on our list for pros are things to do. Now, for myself, I always like to know what are some things I can do in a city. I don't want to just go and live someplace because I'm going to have evenings, weekends, whenever I'm not working, I want to be able to do something, whether it be with my spouse, with the kids, whatever it might be. What is there to do? Some of the highlights here, pro-wise, as far as activities in DeLand, Florida, are this. Anyone living in DeLand, Florida has got to check out the Blue Heron River tours. Now, most of these tours are 2-hour eco-friendly tours that have plenty of opportunity to stop, view wildlife, including alligators and turtles, birds, even manatees. Number 2, a great place to visit is the Pontoon Island State Park. Now, this park is only accessible by private boat or park-provided ferry. It offers a quiet retreat on the St. Johns River in Volusia County. There's ample places to go paddling, fishing, hiking, biking, and camping. Canoe, kayak, and bicycle rentals are available. Camp in your tent, on your boat, or in a cabin. Now, the third thing on our list to really check out while in DeLand is the Reptile Discovery Center. This is an amazing indoor-outdoor venue for seeing more of Florida's wildlife up close. The Reptile Discovery Center is a unique facility. Visitors are exposed to a wide variety of reptile species. There's dozens of the world's most dangerous and exotic snakes. There's also an outdoor nature trail featuring alligators, lizards, tortoises, and other reptiles, which all can be seen up close in their natural environment. Now, number 3 on the list of pros, and I talked about this earlier, is the traffic. Now, traffic was on our cons list. It's also on our pros list because the city is really not that big. And because you don't have to commute unless you're living in DeLand and you're commuting to Orlando, then traffic might be a little bit different for you. Data shows that in DeLand, traffic is very manageable. Now, it might be busy, let's say from 6:30 in the morning until 8:30 in the morning during the morning commute. But on average, commuting around the city is going to take you maybe 22 minutes at the most. Some important roads that I want to mention to you, and I'm going to show you right here on the map. The important roads to note for your commute may include Interstate 4, which take you to Orlando if you wish, or all the way to Daytona Beach. Highway 17, which is Woodland Boulevard, is going to run from north to south. And of course, you have State Road 44, which is going to be another main road that you may use while living in DeLand. Now, if you have kids, you're moving to a new area, then this next item on the list is going to be very important as far as pros go. What are the schools like in DeLand, Florida? Some of the top-ranked schools in DeLand, Florida. You have Freedom Elementary School, which has a niche.com grade of B. It is a pre-K and a kindergarten through 5th grade school. The Ivy Hahn Charter School of the Arts has a grade of a B+. It has K through 8th grade. And lastly is the University High School with a grade B, which caters to 9th through 12th grade. Now, along with those schools I just mentioned, those schools in the DeLand area that I just mentioned, DeLand is a college town, primarily a college town. One of the most notable colleges in the area is Stetson University. Another notable school is NUC University. That's the Florida Technical College of DeLand. Another notable college to mention is the Daytona State College, DeLand campus, located right there in DeLand, Florida. And last on the list of pros, I'm a dog owner. I love my dog, and I'm always wanting to know if a city is dog friendly. DeLand is dog friendly, so it gets a thumbs up in that regard. And while you're in DeLand, visiting or living in DeLand, you've got to go to Barkley Square Dog Park. Barkley Square Dog Park is a 14-acre playground for your canine friend. Hey, I want to thank you for spending time with me today talking about DeLand, Florida, the pros and cons of DeLand, Florida. And as always, if you have some feedback, some things we might have missed in the video, please do not hesitate to reach out, leave a comment, or if you prefer, you can always call, text, email, and let us know your feedback. How'd we do? Did we miss something? Please let us know. If you would like some more information on DeLand, Florida, reach out. You can call, text, or email. You can even leave a comment in the comment section. Like I said before, This is not a personal opinion piece. This is all data that was derived about DeLand, Florida, compiled as best as possible to give you a perfect snapshot of the pros and cons of DeLand, Florida. And as always, if this is the first time to the channel Living in Daytona Beach, go ahead, hit subscribe and the bell so you'll be the first to know about everything there is to know about Daytona Beach and the surrounding areas, such as DeLand or any place in Florida. And like we always say, if you're moving in 5 days to 5 months, 3 days to 3 months, if you're moving to Florida, moving to Daytona Beach, moving to an area near Daytona Beach, give us a call, text, email, or even set up a Zoom video call, because we will make your move memorable. Thank you for watching. Like I always say, I will see you at the beach.